All right. I want to say shalom, and I want to give all honor, glory, and praises to the Most High and His only begotten Son, Creator of heaven and earth. And I'm doing this video as usual, based on like occurrences and things, and particular subjects that keep coming up, and based on like some conversations and just pretty much things in general. I figured biblically, I would speak on it. Yeah, and so basically, I just want to I want to start with and so yeah, like so basically, so hopefully, this could be a comfort to someone. Um, yeah, and myself, and this pretty much is just generally speaking, like particularly for women, but not even necessarily just solely that, just because So yeah, we're gonna get into it. Like basically the times that we're in, and pretty much the mindset of people, um, and yeah. So I just want to start with like as I usually do with Matthew. Um, and this is Matthew chapter 24. And um, once again, in Jewish, I usually start with like, this is the Messiah speaking to the disciples here. Um, Pretty much, you know, he's here in the flesh talking to them. So we're speaking of prophecies here. And so this is Matthew 24 and 1. And Yeshua went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him for to show him the buildings of the temple. And Yeshua said unto him, oh, sorry, let me get that right. And Yeshua said unto them, or Jesus says it says here, um, um, see ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and the end of the world? So that's what we're speaking of. We should know basically, based on prophecy, the Messiah's second coming is just that, it's judgment day. All right, judgment, the time of judgment. All right, the return of our Messiah to execute um, the things that are written. Okay, um, but let's just keep on. Okay, and Yeshua answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in divers places. All these are the beginning of sorrow. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and you shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And that's very key, okay, very important, because once again, as I often speak on, the name that you're coming in, and so yeah, yeah, the name that you're coming in has to do with also, with your works, who you're representing, what you're about, what you represent. So for his name's sake, you shall be hated. Okay. Um, of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended and shall betray one another. So this here. All right, but it's not really what I want to focus on, but it's very important. And then shall many be offended and shall betray one another and shall hate one another. All right, and many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. And that is the key that I wanted to focus on. Um, yeah, right. So let's read it again, okay? And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. Now we should know what is the love of our God, right? So it's keeping the commandments, right? So we're just gonna get that right quick, just so it's clear. And because I want this is gonna tie into it's gonna tie into um see well it's John. I'm gonna get over first chapter 14. Okay. 14 and 15. St. John chapter 14 verse 15. If ye love me, keep my commandments. Verse 21. He that hath my commandments and keepeth them, he it is that loveth me. And he that loveth me shall be loved of my Father, and I will love him and will manifest myself to him. And I really want to go to Exodus because this is very key to everything. I'm gonna go to Exodus and then I'm going to First John because it's very, very important. Like, all right, um, chapter 20, right? Okay, so this is really, really, really key right here. All right, I'll start. I could start at one, but verses 5 and through 7 is really what I want to focus on. So I guess, well, let's just go. Okay, Exodus chapter 20, verse 1. And Ahiah spake all these words, saying, I am. I'll read it as it's written. I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God. This is the key focus here, okay? Let's read it again. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting, so don't focus on the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. That's the focus right there. Link that, tie that in with, so we're reading the commandments here, right? Okay. So our God is a jealous God, okay? And he will visit the iniquity of the fathers upon the third and fourth generation, okay? Upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. So, and once again, we're saying that when you don't keep the commandments of our God, and this is the key right here, though. Let's keep reading. and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me. Here we go, and keep my commandments. All right, 7. Why is 5 through 7 is all 100 trying into the whole point. Okay, thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Okay, so that all ties into what we read in 14 and 15. If you love me, keep my commandments. Okay, um, remember what we read in Matthew. Um, Coming in that we will be hated for his name's sake. Okay, so we're talking about keep the commandments of our God, right? So yeah, that's 100%. Like, let's go to First John, and then I'm gonna get into um some things, and I'm gonna go to Timothy, and this shouldn't be too long. I don't think no, it shouldn't be like um okay, yes. So um I'm gonna go to First John chapter 4 and verse. I'm gonna start at 4, but I really wanted to get to 5 and 3. But 4 and I really wanted to start at 18. Okay, yeah, but I'm just for the sake of time, I'm gonna go to 20. If a man say I love God and hateth his brother, he is a liar. For he that loveth not his brother whom he hath seen, how can he love a higher, or God, as it says here, how can he love God whom he have not seen? And let me make sure I read that right, because this is very key and tie into a lot of of big part of the whole thing. Yes, if a man say I love God, right, and hateth his brother, he is a liar. For he that loveth not his brother whom he hath seen, how can he love God whom he hath not seen? And that, okay, but let's keep going. Verse 21. And this commandment have we from him, that he who loveth God love his brother also. And that this ties into a part of this whole point, and things that I experience, and just things that I often talk about. But like I said, things, reoccurring things coming up. I figure just what's it, because our people. That's what I'm talking about. How we deal with each other. But once again, why I focus on Matthew chapter 20. Okay, the love of many shall wax cold, which is why I'm going here to tying it all together, because the love. You can, as I've mentioned, you could say you love someone, okay, but it's a matter of what you do. Okay, you can say it all day, but how would a person know if you don't show them? So when we deal with each other, the way that we treat each other is based on the love of many having waxed cold because of the times, the last days, as we understand what we read in Matthew. You can see that clearly, that the love of many have waxed cold. And why I tied it into why I wanted to go to the commandments, because if you love God, okay, and he said, you're not to have any other God, and do not take his name in vain. Okay, when you are keeping your commandments, his commandments, his commandment, and you love your neighbor, that's where all the hate, because and show for keeping um the commands, okay, ties in, because of the I'm gonna tie this into it too. I'm gonna let the scripture speak. The hypocrisy, what I want to focus on of our people. Um, so yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna read 21 again, and hopefully that I mean, but yes, this is all very, you know. All right, 21. And this commandment have we from him, that he who loveth God love his brother also. So this is a commandment. Also, as we read in John. All right, this is a commandment that we this is. Let's get that right quick. But then I'm gonna go to what I really wanted to go to in First John, but yeah, but 13 John. Okay. um, 13 and 34. A new commandment I give unto you, that ye love one another as I have loved you, that ye also love one another. Key point here. By this shall all men know that ye are my disciples, if you have love one to another. That's a good precept, and I want to. Okay, yes. So, um, yeah, um, John, we were at 13 and yes, 35. So by this shall all men know that ye are my disciples, if you have love one to another. And that's what we were talking about. That so let's go to back. We were at First John, um, and so this is all ties into once again, as I was saying, the time. Well, not me, but like you can should be able to. Well, if you're blessed on your eyes, if you can look around and see all of these things, the love of many wax and cold, and so when you go through the commandments, though, the main one though to tie into this is also is Leviticus 19. Okay, loving your neighbor as yourself, and that is really true. We're gonna most likely we're gonna get there because that also it plays a huge, like it really ties into also what I'm speaking on, biblically, like so yeah, and so see if you look around and you who you see every day and you have hate for them, um especially you know going through the things that we go through, not being able to um, have um, compassion and even sympathy, even empathy, like any of that, for your brethren, it's just really, so it's really, 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 once again, Matthew 24, the love, because iniquity shall abound, which you can see, the love of many shall wax cold. So, we're gonna get into it. Okay, so in this commandment, so I went to first to back to Saint John. Okay, this was the commandment, and this is the commandment that if you love Him, you're going to keep, and this is how you're going to know who your brethren in our Messiah, in Christ, is going to say, in our Messiah are. This is how you're going to know this, and so in this commandment have we from Him that he who loveth a higher or loveth God love his brother also. All right, and that's something that you know we also don't. A lot of people don't understand really that is your neighbor though. Like your neighbor, when we go into Leviticus, I mean, that is loving your neighbor as yourself. Like you would love your brother. Okay, that's your own people. And we're going to go to Deuteronomy because this also is a sign, okay, when we're not keeping the commandments of our God. Simply put. Or when we come into His name, when we do what it is that He would have us to do, it's going to be clear who our brethren in the Messiah are, who love our God, are because they're going to love their neighbor as their self. They're going to not take his name in vain. And let's go to chapter 5 now. Whosoever believeth that Yeshua is the Messiah, or it says, whosoever believeth that Jesus is the Christ, is born of God. And everyone that loveth him that begat, loveth him also that is begotten of him. By this we know that we love the children of God, when we love God and keep his commandments. For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous. So it isn't grievous when you, because it's when you love someone, it isn't going to be a grievous thing to do what it is that they want you to do. And this is all part of the beauty of this. It's so beautiful because to want to keep the commandments of our God is right. It's righteous. It's good. It's you know. But blessed whose eyes can really really see and ears can really hear that. How beautiful it is to really see how good it is to want to love our God. Yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna go now to Timothy. I'm gonna go to First Timothy. I believe it's First Timothy. Okay, yes. All praises, yes. So this is First Timothy, um, chapter 3, verse 1. This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. And in one of my videos, I did go into the definition of perilous. Perilous, very dangerous, grave. We can get it just for the sake of. Okay, yes. So peril, chance of harm, danger, put in danger, perilous, dangerous. Okay. So, Second Timothy 3:1. This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come, for men shall be lovers of their own selves. And that right there is really the main key point. Okay, that is so key to a lot of situations and a lot of things that take place in this world, and we're gonna get into it. Okay, about what I'm speaking on is people who love only themselves. Okay, someone who cannot think outside of their self. All these things that we're getting ready to read will all tie into that type of person. And so this is the type of people that we're dealing with in this time. This is the type of people. All right. So because of that, times will become perilous. Okay? Because the love of many has waxed cold. People don't care. They don't care about what is best for their brother. They don't care about what may harm someone else. They don't care about how they may make someone else feel. They don't care about how they may affect someone else's life. They don't care because they only care about their self. And this ties into when it comes to, especially with money. See, that's a big thing in these times at this point. So that's why we also read and think, okay, for the love of money is the root of all evil, because that all ties into selfishness too. Like it all ties together. But I'm not gonna get that right thing. But I'm just going to all right. So for men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous. So once again, we know that in the law it says, "Thou shalt not covet." That's to lust after or to look at what other things and to want it. To want, we could get it, but I mean, maybe we should, but I don't know. But let's keep going. Boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection. And as I went to in another one of my videos, even considering the way that we deal with each other, it's unnatural. I mean, even though the scriptures are manifold, unnatural affection towards people can tie into, it could be even not just people, but anything. Okay, unnatural affection. So that could tie into things as far as um, fornication wise, but all and it all ties. Okay, and also like I mentioned before, the love that you would have for your own brother. Like the things that prompted me to do this, speaking on and hearing things that have happened and remembering the things that have happened in my life to friends of mine. Um, you have to really and have to have unnatural affections to be able to actually go through with doing certain things. It's unnatural to you know like even sexually, like even things that I'm talking, like deal with people and then just not have any type of um once again we talk about selfishness, care of you know consequences that may take place in someone else's life, okay, based on what you what a person will want to do at that time. It's unnatural, all right, to be, and it also kind of ties into like when you think about it, like um, like slavery and things like that, like how our people were pretty much forced to um, sort of like breeding type of, so kind of, it kind of ties that. So that forms unnatural, affections. Okay, all of that. I mean, if that makes sense. But and I pray that that point of that is understood. Like, um, without natural affection, truce breakers. Okay, so if you have a truce, all right, you come to a peace or an agreement, and that's broken, like it's nothing, or even any type of agreement, um, and we just want to touch on that. Okay, traitors, all right, but I didn't get there yet. But without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, all right, incontinent, and this is also tying into, and I think this is a blessing here too. Why it's all right there within this same verse. Okay, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, and this is the incontinency is one of the main things that also considering this that I want to focus on when I, kind of was prompted to do this, right? Um, incontinent, fierce, incontinent and fierce. All right. Um, despisers of those that are good. You know, and it's just once again, if you have eyes to see, you can see all of that, all of it. Let's get incontinent. Let's get incontinent. Okay, so when I went to um incontinent, it also it goes into just other, I guess, like synonyms, I guess. And so I also went in to look up those as well because it's just, yeah. Um, so this is incontinent, right? Incontinent without self-restraint. Okay. Without self-restraint, not chaste. Okay, not chaste, not chaste. Licentious, All right. So once again, all tying into with that without natural affection. All right. And if as I mentioned before in another one of my videos, like when I was speaking on like the single parent homes and things like that, when you have a culture that does not regard sex as becoming one and as marriage, and it's just promoted so loosely, as if it's such a light thing. This is the environment that you have. So it's full of licentious, lewdness, lustful, without restraint. It when and I'm gonna go into Deuteronomy and tie into, and it's all gonna come out, you know, because like this is when you have. Okay, and I'm gonna go to also probably gonna go to Deuteronomy 28 also. All right, our people have been smitten with madness, and the physical things that brought this madness about was basically the captivity that we were put under. And so in those conditions, it also that is 100% ties because when when you're in an environment where, and it's going to tie into all of it, because like even with the fornication with the unnatural affection, so you're talking about things that um when you the way that our people were violated, okay, sexually, something that people don't understand. Some people do understand this. It's going to all tie into the point, like certain sexual practices bring up it's a spiritual thing. So when certain things are done, that can put a certain spirit on you, and then you become fierce. Okay, um, as as what we read in Timothy. So like all of this all ties. Let's just, yeah, we're gonna get fierce right quick though, and then I'm gonna go right to Deuteronomy, and I'm gonna so and I say this because the way, like what I mentioned that other video, was promoted in society. And with the music, with the things that we watch. I mean, even today I was, listening to songs that I used to listen to. And it's like, you know, it seemed pretty innocent at the time, but when you're really in the truth and you get to listen to stuff, you you pick up the how much sexual, I guess you could say, innuendos, if that's, or um, promotional, like, but it's subtle, but it's there. I mean, just everywhere. So it's like it's just people are over sexualized, and it creates this culture of just nude, um, uh, incontinent, um, totally not regarding what we're gonna go to in Deuteronomy. And that I've watched other things, and it's very factual that you can, when you deal sexually with certain things, that forms certain ties. So when you're doing that all over the place, especially women, you know, you may feel a certain way, but men don't. They don't. It like I said, it's like this culture or whatever. So then to them it isn't a thing. Like it's not like even certain, when you're like no, I don't, you're not really um about that. See, like men, this culture equates sex with, like, I guess, from what I get, like from my viewpoint, as your man, like all the many women that you can get. Like if somebody's willing to you know, do that, like that makes you, I guess, the man, so to speak, or something like that. Whatever. But you get the point. Like, so it's like, um, because I've even had, people like, oh well, you ain't all that just because you're not all trying to get down like that. Like, so it's to this this culture equates. They make it so like what they don't do is this right here. So let's just get to the point. So let's go to um Deuteronomy, right? Okay, Deuteronomy 28. Right. Um. No. I do want to go to Deuteronomy 28 because I wanted to go there about the madness because like the point to bring in the point of what I'm saying, like when you're doing that all over the place, and like it can that contributes to the actual things that have brought about these curses here. So some of it was enforced. It still has trickled down from like the physical captivity, slavery that we were put under. Okay, and it's still in the culture, and then it's promoted consistently. All right, in the music and what you watch and movies all over the place, like, and it's very subtle in songs, as I was mentioning, like it's just everywhere. So it's like, it isn't, and that can cause, even though a person may not understand it, because once again, it's the culture, so it doesn't seem like it's anything, but really, it really affects people. And um, I'm gonna go to let's. I could go to 28 and 54. That ties into it also, because that becomes the end result. But um, I don't want to go to 28. I want to go to 22. Okay, and I touched on this before, but I didn't actually go into what I meant to. Um, but this is Deuteronomy 22 and um 22, and let's just start at 28. But I'm gonna touch on something else. So this is not what's promoted, and what people don't um think of when they're dealing. Okay, and once again, the times we were in and the way that we view each other, like there's really no um our perception and our culture is being formed for us. Okay, as I said, in like I always say, like the program I say, and once again, songs and everything, like when you start to look at these things, it's like this is suggestion to you as to this is how you're supposed to be. Like this is the way it's supposed to be. Like you're supposed to be a baller, getting all these females, and once again, or like I said, mentioning the other way around. Like, well, this is the way they think, so don't take them serious. So just do like they do. You know, this it, so what they was not as promoted is this: if a man find a damsel that is a virgin, which is not betrothed, and lay hold on her and lie with her, and they be found, then the man that lay with her shall give unto the damsel's father 50 shekels of silver, and she shall be his wife, because he hath humbled her. He may not put her away all his days. And as we read further up in the chapter, how if a man tried to even make an occasion to get out of something, and how if it was found that he's lying on her because you can't put her away, okay, and we can touch on that in Matthew with the disciples were asking the Messiah, okay, if you can't put our wife away, then it might be better for not to. So you can't just put your wife away for any cause. You can't do it, okay. So once again, tying into a little further up here in the chapter, like if when someone was, if a man was to bring an occasion against his wife, but to get out of it and lie on her, and it be found that he's lying, then he would be chastised, and he will be sent right home with his wife, and he cannot put her away. All right, so this was enforced, and if this here was once again um our people were educated on this here, we were taught these commands. You cannot put your wife away. All right. If a woman, you know, will understand the value of her worth, her role. Okay, if we were taught this, um, then these things wouldn't be the case. But what I want to go to is I want to go to uh 26. All right, let's go to 25 and 26. Deuteronomy 23, 25 and 26. But if a man find a betrothed damsel in the field, and the man force her and lie with her, then the man only that lay with her shall die. But unto the damsel thou shalt do nothing. There is in the damsel no sin worthy of death, for as this is the part what I really want to get to. For as when a man rises against his neighbor and slayeth him, even so is this man. And so you can, and I meant to go to this sometime ago for another one of them, but can't nowhere. But yeah, this is very key point. It's like this type of situation. If a man was to do this, this is like, so this is the love that we're supposed to have for our neighbors, for our people. Um, so much to the point where you would be so caught off guard by your neighbor rising up against you to slay you. It's just how off guard it would be for a man to force a woman. Now, in this verse here, we are talking about because she's betrothed. So that means she already belongs to someone. So that's one thing. So we know this is adultery. The Most High hates this. But at the same time, this is something that's worthy of death. Okay? For a man to force a woman, and we're going to go into the Joseph, which I had before. Okay? A man is not to do that. All right? They're not. And it also ties into um, loving your neighbor as yourself. So you would never want someone to do that to your daughter. You would never want someone to, and like I said, and things that prompt me to do this, things, stories, and things I've heard. I mean, and we all know, we're talking about babies here, like little girls, okay, um, being abused in this manner. So this is tied into the incontinency, the being smitten with madness, the fierceness. Okay, see, these things are really going on, and but that's what it is. Okay, it's madness. It's sick, and it's like what level of incontinency do you have, whereas though you can't contain yourself, that you would have to force someone. Okay, what what kind of lust are you dealing with if you would have to, and especially take advantage of things like with children and things like that. Okay, this is what we're talking about. So you talking about this. So listen to what this says here. So um, this is as if a man riseth against his neighbor and slayeth him. Even so is this man. And this is this is something that um but we're just gonna be real here. Like even when I was growing up, things like that, things that you heard, things that, you know, like you just, it's like, even like, it could be same sex. I mean, like, or so this is the type of world that we're in. And when I say, I mean, like homosexuality, things like that, like for being, having, um heard, like, it's just like our people are going through so many things. And with one of the situations, like this, was a really, really good friend of mine. Like things that she had, things that happened with her family, so where so she was forced to have to stay with other supposed to be family. And this is not. This is just one of of my friends at that, in childhood we're talking about. Whereas though, you know, so now she don't her family is gone, so she's forced to come to a whole other state, deal with other families, have to live with, to be in situations, and this is just one of all my, so many, so many. So our people really, man, really, 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 the love of me has really waxed cold. And so our people are dealing, from childhood with so many emotional scars. And this also ties into the way that you deal as an adult. All right. And so that is what, so these conditions, these curses and things upon our people, all this ties into, the playing out of the things that are going on in these last days. So all that ties into the incontinency, you know, the fierceness, or let's get fierce. Fierce, savage, wild. Example, a fierce lion, raging, violent. And that is so, I'm glad that fierce, savage, wild, a fierce lion, raging, violent, very eager or active, ardent. All right. So when I went there, um, that ties into, what I've, let's see, Jesus. Okay, so this is Josephus, and I've gone into this before, but this also ties into, um um something that this ties into it. Okay, kind of like, but let's see. I'm gonna get right to it. Um, this is against Apion. Um, I guess it's not even, but okay, against Apion. What chapter is this? This is book two. Book two. And this is paragraph from 25 at verse 200. All right, it commands us also, when we marry, not to have regard to portion, nor to take a woman by violence. So now we read, the definition of fierce, okay? One, you know, raging, violent, okay? All tying into what we read. And if you notice in Timothy, that whole verse, okay, all, it's all in that whole verse. So without natural affection, um, it's all there. All right. So, um, and hopefully, this can be a comfort to, people, because as a woman, if if depending on it's very sad to say, but this is the reality of the times that we're in. Most women, most whoever, whatever, whatever, most women can say that at some point in their life they have dealt with some type of unwanted, violent, um, um, sexual assault or whatever, however you would put it. I mean, and that's a fact. And I can factually, based on not only myself, but people, most of the women that I know, and have grown up with, can say that. It's just the truth of from what I can say from, you know, and this is what people need to understand the times that we're in and the type of people. And this is why, once again, I said this was, could be, not necessarily geared to women, but why it's just so important for men to understand their role in this earth, as protectors and not predators. Okay, that is that's beyond important. And as I often say, and I often go to, um, you know, that is something that the men don't seem to get. That the reason that things are out of order is because the men are out of order. Because they're the head. The men are the head. So when you're dealing righteously, then the Most High is blessing you. Your head is covering you, okay, and you're blessed, and the rest of the body naturally falls in line. And so, this is just something, and once again, this is based on some conversations and then things that I just kept hearing. And like I said, once again, I don't have much tolerance to watch too much TV to a certain extent, but I just, like families, they're watching TV, and I'm listening to, some of the things that are on these shows, and it's just like this subject I'm speaking on, like sexual assault, and they just put it out there like this is just normal, the way stuff's supposed to be in life, and that it's not. It isn't. It is not. And so we're gonna read this again. So um, this says here 200. It commands us also when we marry not to have regard to portion, nor to take a woman by violence, nor to persuade her deceitfully and lavishly. And really, you can pretty much tie that to like, because the reality is, if you're convincing you talking game to a woman, you know what I mean, you are, trying to do what it is to get with this sister, or however, then you are deceiving them. Okay, you're deceiving them if you don't have the intentions of being with them. Okay, and so that is a type of force. That is, and so we're going to get into that as well. Okay, this is going to bring you to, the next scriptures that I'm going to get to. This is, you know, that is, and that's why he's saying you're not to do it, because you actually are forcing them, because they're believing you or trusting you to not do them wrong or whatever. So that is a type of force for real. It is, because if you know you have a certain intention, and and men, and I was looking at something else, and men know, you would never tell me that a man don't know what kind of woman that he's talking to or dealing with, because many friends, different, you can always tell the type of woman that you, and another thing is this why it goes into the selfishness, because men be having a whole lot of hoes, for lack of a better term, I wouldn't miss, but yeah, of somebody that they know they can get with if that's what they wanted. So, but yet and still they will lavishly, pursue someone that they know they couldn't just do. So people know who they're dealing with. They know who they're dealing with. They know what type of females they're dealing with. They know. Yes, they do. And I know. Like I said, I yes they do. Okay. So people will say, "Oh, you had this on," and yes, sure, attire and dress has a lot to do with certain things, but at the same time, these things going and people not scantily clad, not dressed certain ways, things that what I mean. So it it is a matter of people's intentions, as I often say, and people and as the scriptures say, a man knows the spirit is in him, that they know what they're about. Okay? And so this is what this is saying here. Lavishly, because you are lavishly doing something deceitfully if you know what your intentions are and you're pursuing someone as if you have other intentions. Okay? So and that's just what it is. And so this is why it is so important for our men to be righteous. Because it all goes into, as I often mention, it's based on what you do. And if you love the Most High, then you're going to do what He says to do. And it all first and foremost starts with loving your neighbor as yourself. Period. Like just all the way around. So, just as you know, I'm gonna just leave that because that point's, pretty clear. So I'm gonna go to um something else. Okay. So considering that, I'm not really sure. One way or another, this is going to tie into, what I'm talking about. But I think, um, I'm going to do First John or let's see. So we're talking about we're going to get the. Let's get to what it is. So we're gonna. This is Daniel. I'll just start at Daniel. Daniel chapter 11. And um So, as I mentioned before in another one of my videos, before, when talking about, I think maybe the very first one, the truth, um, we're talking about identifying the Antichrist, right? So we understand, so we will we'll start with John, First John, all right? Okay, so, this is, First John, 2. And I'll start at you know, let's start at 15, okay? Um, love, I really can start at 14 because of the whole point, but just to get to it, okay? So, um, 15. Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, as we were just talking about, the lust, okay? The lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life is not of the Father, but is of the world. And we were in Timothy. We didn't go all the way through it, but right where we stopped, okay, we're gonna go back to Timothy and get it with it tied all because matter of fact, oh, well, let's see because yeah, let's just do that right quick because this is the thing. When we were going through Timothy, this is what we're dealing with. And so once again, this is to just like I said, just biblically speak on some things and maybe I pray be some comfort to someone. Um, people have had to deal with certain things and not really fully understanding the depth of why, and that's because of the times that we're in and the type of people that are in these times. And so we're gonna just go right quick. Without natural affection, truth breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of God, having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. From such turn away. Okay, But I wanted to also go back up to excuse me, chapter two. I'm sorry, verse two. So for men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous. So that's lustful, coveting, wanting. You know what I mean? So that all ties into it, just going on looks of things. And so once again, that's what's promoted in this world. Um, yeah, just fleshly, carnal, just lustly things. Like that is what's promoted, like all over the place. So but so for men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient parents, unthankful, unholy. All right, so it's that's the spirit. So that's what I wanted to tie into this. Okay, and the what it, know this also that in the last days. Okay. So that's perilous times, okay? And so in the world, like we're gonna go back to First John, love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes. Okay, so that all ties into the covetousness, right? Um, and the pride of life is not of the Father, but is of the world. And the world passeth away, and the lust thereof. But he that doeth the will of a higher of God, as it says, abideth forever. Little children, it is the last time. And as ye have heard, and this is really what I want to get to, and as ye have heard that Antichrist shall come. Even now are there many Antichrists, right? Um, whereby we know that it is the last time. And so it all ties into, um, the whole point of it. These are the last times. These are the last times. We're dealing with selfish, lustful, covetous, antichrist. That's the spirit that's in the world, because that's all that's that spirit that's out here, and that's what's promoted. And so this is the mindset of people. Okay, I'm just saying, like, so, um, and then that ties into, once again, um, experiences that people have because of these things. Okay, and then, it's just perpetuate, continue, because when people are not coming in this spirit, and so then that, and I'm gonna also go to Psalms, okay, also, and probably in John, and Matthew, like pretty much that's the only, it's like all throughout, like these offenses are gonna come because of the times that we're in. Offenses are gonna come because of the times that we're in. All right, and so that's just what it is. And but I'm gonna go to Psalms too though. But yeah, so there's an antichrist spirit out here, and all of that ties into it. Okay, so incontinent, they can't contain, they can't restrain themselves. They only care about what they see. They want something they see, and so it's just all the way around, like with whatever it is, like that's just so but yeah, so little children, it is the last time. All right, and as ye have heard, the Antichrist shall come. Even now there are many Antichrists, whereby we know that it is the last time. All right, and I could keep going. I could keep going, but I just wanted to bring that out. Like I would, but I'm gonna actually I'm gonna go to now. I'm gonna go to Daniel, right? And I'm also gonna go to um St. Matthew's, right, several places, but all right. So we're speaking of, in this time. All right, let's see here. In a certain time period, Daniel is speaking of, and let's see. I could start at 25. Yes, let me just start at 23. Okay. Mm, and he that has the ear to hear, bless them, because they are totally going to hear. Like I said, as I mentioned in another video, you know. So, but in particular, in this time, okay, it's all time into the beast, right? But it's a spirit that's out here in this world. But let me start at 21, okay? So, and in his estate shall stand up a vile person, to whom they shall not give the honor of the kingdom, but he shall come in peaceably and obtain the kingdom by flatteries. Um, okay. Um, and with the arms of a flood, and once again, as I mentioned before, with the flatteries, okay, that's inveigling as a one and another one, so that all ties into, the deceit, which is a form of force, and we're going to let's keep going, okay. So, and with the arms of a flood shall they be overflown from before him, and shall be broken. Yea, also the prince of the covenant and after the league made with him, he shall work deceitfully. For he shall come up and shall become strong with a small people. He shall enter peaceably, even upon the fattest places of the province, and he shall do that which his fathers have not done, nor his fathers' fathers. He shall scatter among them the prey and spoil and riches, yea, and he shall forecast his devices against the strongholds, even for a time. And he shall stir up his power and his courage against the king of the south with a great army, and the king of the south shall be stirred up to battle with a very great and mighty army. But he shall not stand, for they shall forecast devices against him. Yea, they that feed of the portion of his meat shall destroy him, and his army shall overflow, and many shall fall down slain. And both these kings' hearts shall be to do mischief, and they shall speak lies at one table, but it shall not prosper, for yet the end shall be at the time appointed. Right? Then shall he return into his land with great riches, and his heart shall be against the holy covenant, and he shall do exploits, and return to his own land. At the time appointed he shall return and come toward the south, but it shall not be as the former or as the latter. And I want to read down here because, but 38, I believe, is what I really want to get to. But this is all ties into, once again, he that has an ear, okay? But and especially what we just read. You could pick up those jewels from what we just read here, okay? And, you know, um, um, 27, um, you know, uh, let's see where else. Because, man, I'm telling you, um, where else? Let's see. 23. Um, uh, just all throughout here is some good jewels in here, right? Um, 25, right, through 26. All right. But anyway, but I'm just that's for he that can receive that. Um, so let's keep going. So at the time appointed, he shall return and come toward the south, but it shall not be as the former or as the latter. For the ships of Shittim shall come against him. Therefore he shall be grieved and return and have indignation against the holy covenant. So shall he do. He shall even return and have intelligence with them that forsake the holy covenant. When I say Maccabees, I mean, is anybody, if you have ears to hear, once again, as I mentioned, but look, and arms shall stand on his part, and they shall pollute the sanctuary of strength, and shall take away the daily sacrifice, and they shall place the abomination that maketh desolate. So we're tying into, once again, 100% Maccabees is talking about what our Messiah um, was telling us, okay, with this all ties. So even those things eventually take place there, because the Most High is so beautiful. Things are prophetic. Things that actually, had taken place. They still paved a prophetic, um, because this is his story. You understand? Like, it's so beautiful. It is. I'm telling you. Like, but yes. So, um, as I mentioned before, like, when we think of the abomination of desolation at that time, so you have to remember what exactly is the abomination of desolation, right? All tying into this whole spirit, all of it. It's all ties, like, but so an arm shall stand on his part. Okay, and let's see. So um, and such as do wickedly. Okay, um. All right, an arm shall stand on his part, and they shall pollute the sanctuary of strength, and shall take away the daily sacrifice, and they shall place the abomination that maketh desolate. All right, and such as do wickedly against the covenant shall he corrupt by flatteries. Okay, that could be. Listen. All right, and to this, nothing new under the sun. All tying into, you know, you know, but the people that do know their God shall be strong and do exploits, and they that understand among the people shall instruct many. Yet they shall fall by the sword, and by flame, by captivity, and by spoil many days. Once again, all time is the same. And Revelations, okay, Revelations, and also bringing about, the prophecy of Ezekiel. All right, 37. All right, and I believe it's Revelation to 11. Okay, but all right. Oh my goodness, the Bible's so beautiful because it just ties into so many other things that I, wanted to go into, even especially considering. I'm not gonna go there today. I ain't gonna do it. But anyway, so but yeah, so now when they shall fall, they shall be hoping with a little help, but many shall cleave to them with flatteries, and some of them of understanding shall fall, to try them, and to purge, and to make them white, even to the time of the end, because it is yet for a time appointed. Okay? And the king shall do according to his will, and he shall exalt himself and magnify himself above every god, and shall speak marvelous things against the God of gods, and shall prosper. Once again, all tying into, as I mentioned before, like tying into Revelations too, okay, and also Daniel, was it chapter 7, okay, as well. All right, speaking the great words and the blasphemy, all time is in Revelation 13, also, I believe, you know, so yeah, um, and he that has ear to hear, hopefully I pray that, you, all right, so, um, So now when they shall fall, they shall be hoping with a little help, but many shall cleave to them with flatteries, and some of them of understanding shall fall to try them, and to purge, and to make them white, even to the time of the end, because it is yet for a time appointed. Okay, it's appointed. So look at the point. It's set. It's going to come. All right. So and the king shall do according to his will, and he shall exalt himself and magnify himself above every god, and shall speak marvelous things against the God of gods, and shall prosper till the indignation be accomplished. Okay? Um, for that is determined shall be done. All praises. Neither shall he regard the God of his fathers, nor the desire of women, nor regard any God, for he shall magnify himself above all. But in his estate shall he honor the God of forces. That's really what I wanted to get to. So once again, it all ties together. He that has is it the time, okay, the Antichrist, the spirit, um, everything that is written, okay, you know, blessed if you can. The Most High has blessed you to understand His word and see. everything that we just read here and exactly who this is talking about, add all of it. But once again, tying it even right here as we read, okay, so it's even tying into even with your even those that understand will be tried. They some shall fall. They that is to purging. Okay, they will be as an intelligence to help those that have forsaken the holy covenant. Okay, so it all ties into you understanding a time period. All right, and so but this is the key here in this time period. Okay, we're dealing with, if you understand who this God is of forces, okay, okay, because we understand who is the deceiver. So once again, when you are deceived, that's why the Messiah is the freedom. That's why he will make you free because now you know the truth and you have a choice. But when you're deceived, you're forced. Okay? Okay. All praises, all right? So, but in his estate shall he honor the God of forces, and a God whom his fathers knew not, shall he honor with gold and silver and with precious stones and pleasant things. And so, once again, this all ties into understanding this Antichrist actually is. Understand once again whose father. So even though we could tie, and I'll give those that have an ear to hear, um, you know, let's see, who that has an ear to hear, um, Genesis 25 and 23, okay, and I could read it, but I'll leave that there, because, you know, yeah, so, but this is the thing. This God that we're talking about, okay, but in his estate shall he honor the God of forces, and a God whom his fathers knew not shall he honor with gold and silver and with precious stones and pleasant things. All right. So the God of forces, okay. As I mentioned before, when you talk about greed, control, lust, deceit, okay. All right. So once again, deceit that can that all ties. All right. And so I'm gonna go to now I'm gonna go to once again. This is all praise of the year. I'm gonna go to I think it's Matthew. Okay, yes, and also too when you see, but we're gonna go to Matthew. But I also wanted to say about that in Daniel as well. When we're talking about it ties into First Peter. Okay, no, it's the Second Peter. Let me see. When we're talking about verses Daniel 11, 30 through 33, okay, and 34 and 35, yes. So that also can also tie into Peter, okay, and Romans, right, and Second Peter, um, and he that hath ears to hear knows, right, Second Peter chapter 2 and all that, so that all ties. But um we were talking about, okay, of forces. So, and the point of it is just to make light of the spirit that's out. All right. Okay. So um, 11 and 12. This is Matthew chapter 11 and 12. All right, and from the days of John the Baptist until now, the kingdom of heaven suffereth violence, and the violent take it by force. Okay, so this all ties. Okay, I really would like to read down to 14. Okay, for all the prophets and the law prophesied until John, and if you receive it, this is Elias, which was for to come. He that hath ears to hear, let him hear. Alright, and I like to go on because I really like this chapter too, but it's like that. that so once again, we're dealing with the violent taketh the kingdom of heaven by force, and this is the spirit that's out here because there's a God um that is being worshipped. This is the God of forces. Okay, so once again, let's go to because this is facts right here. All right, and so this is where the healing comes in, and also Jeremiah 30. I'm gonna go there too, right quick, just to make a point of it, because once again, that why I went to the prophesied, this was prophesied, and as we read in Daniel, this was for to come at the time appointed. So this has all been written, okay, already, and it's going to come to pass. And so this is the case. And so even though it's very hurtful and sad to see things happen to people and hear, and it is, but it's an indication of the times that we're in. It's an indication of the times that we're in. And I want to go to John, okay? And so understanding that the truth, and knowing that is comfort to understand that people are straight up dealing with a brute beast savage, as we read, fierce, okay, type of mentality. No love, um, no understanding of the value of their brother, okay, or sister, you know. Um, um, so this is John. Oh, okay, you right now. That's all right. Okay. All right. John 8 and I like to start at 20, but I'm just for the sake of time, I'm gonna go to 32. Okay, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Okay. So I'm gonna jump to 36. This is John 8 and 36. If the Son therefore shall make you free, ye shall be free indeed. Okay? So the truth, and of course we know the Son, all right, He is the truth, the way, and the life, all right? So you will be made free. You'll be made free because, period. No, once you understand and know the truth, no one can take that from you. And you can, something that I like to say, like, there's three things you have the truth, you have an opinion, and then you have which of those a person or you choose to believe and go with. But once you know the truth, you have that choice. Okay, but whatever it is you decide from that point on to believe or follow through with, that's on you. All right, but and you've been made free. No one can take that from you. All right, so it's like yeah. Um, so I want to go to 14. Okay. All right. 14 and 26. Okay. But when the Comforter is come, whom I will send unto you from the Father, even the Spirit of truth, which proceedeth from the Father, he shall testify of me. Alright, so the Spirit of truth, okay? That's your comfort. Comfort in knowing that this is what you have to do. Um, and I love this because this is so real, and I often have to um you know go here. Like I love to go here in this song because this is the all right. So this is Psalms chapter 15, right? Psalms chapter 15. Lord, who shall abide in thy tabernacle? Who shall dwell in thy holy hill? Alright? He that walketh uprightly and worketh righteousness and speaketh the truth in his heart. Okay? He that backbiteth not with his tongue, nor doth evil to his neighbor, nor taketh up a reproach against his neighbor. All right, now I didn't actually get to Leviticus 19, but let's get that right quick, just right quick, because this is, you know, Leviticus 19. Now, because this is, Leviticus 19 and 18. Alright, no, we'll start at 17. Well, let's start at 16. I really, okay, so we'll just start at 16, alright? Thou shalt not go up and down as a talebearer among thy people, neither shalt thou stand against the blood of thy neighbor. I am the Lord. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor, and not suffer sin upon him. Thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people, but thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. I am the Lord. Okay? And so that all ties into once again everything that we read too. Okay? Um, you know, in First John, okay? Um, you know, loving your neighbor whom you see, okay? And that love for your neighbor, that command, all right? And for your brother, right? And you know, um, I want to go. Okay, so we want to go back to Psalms. Okay, so he that backbiteth. So that was also, also tying into the spirit, like that we read about in Daniel. Okay, that deceit, that and the flatteries, and once again what we read in Josephus, like what we're not to do. Okay, what a man was not to do as far as in dealing, with your neighbors. Okay, you're your sisters. That's your one. That's your neighbors. All right. As far as the flattery, all right, and so lavishly, and so that is all part of the deceit too, okay, and once again, that's going to tie into it's also like that can be a form of like witchcraft too, like that's why when we go into Revelations, we're gonna get that just to back that statement up, all right, the that is also because that's a form of mind manipulation. That's a form of witchcraft as well, which as we know, the Most High said that is abomination unto him. All right, and you're not going to be in his kingdom, okay? If you're dealing with witchcraft and things like that, like you're not. So we're gonna get that though. But he that backbiteth not with his tongue, so nor doeth evil to his neighbor, nor taketh up a reproach against his neighbor, in whose eyes a vile person is condemned. And this is beautifully tied into Leviticus 19. Okay, no respect of persons, and um, if you're wrong, you're wrong. Like if a vile person is condemned, like you don't see it any other way, just because of who it is or whatever, whatever. Like so, in whose eyes a vile person is condemned, but he honors them that fear the Lord. He, this is the key point here, though. All right. So, Lord, who I'm going to one again, and Todd is here, okay, and to basically what we're speaking of, and this comfort and truth, okay, um, and why things are going on because this is what people are not doing, and this is but because of the time, see, that is still a blessing. All right, and I'm about to go to this too. Like, this is the day that the Most High have made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. Because even though things are sorrowful, I mean, that may not necessarily be totally that context of that, but indeed, because even though things are sorrowful and it's really, a very, you know, Job 9:24, the world that we're in, but you still be rejoicing, be glad because why? Because what we read in Daniel also 11, okay, this is a time of freedom. So now you understand what time you're in when you see these things. Even though it's sorrowful, be glad because it's not only learning, okay, experience, but it is to purge out. Um, and so those who are truly seeking Messiah, you'll see who your brethren are, who the true disciples are, okay, because you're gonna see, all right. But that's just But but he honors them that fear the Lord. He that sweareth. Do you understand what this is saying? He that sweareth to his own hurt and changeth not. He that putteth not out his money to usury, nor take reward against the innocent. He that doth these things shall never be moved. Okay? But the key thing is, what is he saying here? Someone that can swear by their own hurt but don't change. Okay? And so then that means you're definitely going to go through something. You're going to go through things. And let's go to Matthew 18. Okay, but that is who is going to abide in the holy tabernacle. Okay? All right. Matthew 18. Matthew 18, and we'll start at 3 because this is something that we all need to remember and remind ourselves. All right, and said, Verily I say unto you, except ye be converted and become as little children, ye shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven. Okay, and that's a lot. But Who, whosoever therefore shall humble himself as this little child, the same is greatest in the kingdom of heaven. And whoso shall receive one such little child in my name receiveth me. And that is also key and important. And what we need to remember, humbling ourselves as little children and remembering James. This is a good thing to tie into James, okay? Um, are asking our God for the wisdom and upgrading not. Okay. Um, okay, and being also Corinthians. All right. Remembering that we're all learning. We know nothing of ourselves, and this all ties into this. When you humble yourself as a little child and remember that it's His word that you're listening to and seeking for, and that is if someone is coming to you, you can receive that. Once again, as I love Matthew 11. Okay, was it 10? Um, wisdom is justified of her children. Okay, so you one of his little children, just as we read in First John, referring to his disciples as the little children. So that's what you're gonna do. You're gonna be humble, and you're gonna receive him. Okay, because when you're humble, then you're gonna listen, and you're not gonna be so proud. And that's where the hypocrisy comes in. Okay, when you're too proud to be able to humble yourself and listen for the spirit of our God. All right, when someone's coming with that, you're gonna know it. You're gonna know it. Um, um, but but this is what I really want to get to. But whoso shall offend one of these little ones which believe in me, it were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck, and that he were drowned in the depth of the sea. Woe unto the world because of offenses, for it must needs be that offenses come. Okay, so it needs be that offenses come. Why? Because of the time, and that, so that you understand what time that you're in. All right. But woe to that man by whom the offense cometh. All right. Um. Yeah, we could go on. Yeah, but that's the thing. Like that was what I wanted to get to. That offenses are going to come because of the time, because of the time, and so understanding that, you know, hopefully, you know, and also once again understanding that also a blessing is to forgive, um, forgive, you know, those that have offended you, those that have despitefully used you. All right, because once again, you understand that the Messiah tells you that you're blessed. All right, when you encounter these things. All right, because just as we read in Matthew 24, okay, because you're going to be hated for His name's sake, and so that's what all this ties into that. It all ties. And so yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say. But yes, but with the the because yeah, let's go to Revelation. Let's go to um mm, all praise. That's so interesting. That I just turn right to in Hebrews when it's speaking of how faith, though your faith is indeed a force, right? Um, but yeah. Yeah, see, that's what the adversary want to take, right? But let's go to Galatians. Okay, so I'm actually gonna actually just go to I'm gonna go to Revelation first, and we'll have a display though. Let's see. So this is Revelation 22 and 14. Blessed are they, and this all ties into once again, all time into if you do his commandments and they're not grievous, all right, you're blessed. You're blessed, okay? Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life and may enter in through the gates into the city. This is so deep. I mean, listen, and like I said before, it is definitely so beautiful. This song here, this is so deep right here, like with understanding for real. Yeah. All right, right. So blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life and may enter in through the gates into the city. All right. But without are dogs, okay, and sorcerers, and whoremongers, and murderers, and idolaters, and whosoever loveth and maketh a lie. Now consider why all of these types, okay? all of these types are all in this um, verse here. Okay, considering everything that we read, um, all of that. All right. Um, so we understand that the dogs, that is in this case you're speaking of women dealing with witchcraft, or men. It could be dogs and sorcerers and whoremongers and murderers and idolaters and whosoever loveth and maketh a lie is all tied together, because all of those types, all those attributes tie into these types of people. Whoremongers are manipulators. All right, they have to be, okay. Sorcerers, dogs. So why do you think that they're all tying into that? And whoever loveth and maketh a lie, okay? Because they're all an idolaters. So as I had mentioned before, briefly, like about certain sexual practices and things like that, they do all tie into and once some people are aware of it, some people aren't, but they all tie into serving other gods, and indeed, because our God is telling us here how to serve Him, all right, in His Word. But the thing is, though, and whosoever loves and makes a lie, because when you deceive someone and you lie to someone, that is a type of you're, you're forcing something on them. That if you're just honest and true, then they may or may not have done, would have had a choice in whatever that scenario may have been. Okay? So that's why with witchcraft, though, that is a form of it, because it's mind manipulation when you deceive someone or lie too, also. Alright? And so now let's go to Galatians. Okay? And what we just read. And we're going to read, concerning what we just read in Revelations. Okay? So now, but if ye be led by the Spirit, ye are not under the law. Okay, why not? Because the law is destroyed, it, it, but because when you're led by the Spirit, you're going to not do the works of the flesh. So then, therefore, there's no law against the works of the Spirit. But let's read, okay? But if you be led by the Spirit, ye are not under the law. Now the works of the, let's actually start at 17, so that's that, or 16, so that is clear, right? Um, wow. As a matter of fact, let's start at 13. All right, Galatians 5:13. For brethren, ye have been called unto liberty. Okay, real freedom, the truth. Only use not liberty for an occasion to the flesh, but by love serve one another. And that's a wonderful precept to Peter. And I'm actually gonna write that down. Yeah, all praises, like there's so many precepts there, like for First Peter, Second Peter, Titus. Yeah, that. But yes, so um, all right. For brethren, ye have been called unto liberty. James also. All right. Only use not liberty for an occasion to the flesh, but by love serve one another. Okay. Also wonderful precept. To St. John chapter 13, right? Um, for all the law is fulfilled in one word, even this, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Okay? All praises. But if ye bite and devour one another, take heed ye be not consumed one of another. This I say then, walk in the Spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. For the flesh lusteth against the Spirit, and the spirit against the flesh, and these are contrary the one to the other, so that ye cannot do the things that ye would. All right. But if ye be led of the Spirit, ye are not under the law. Now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these. Clearly making it clear once again, okay? These are the lusts of the flesh, and when they're contrary one to another. So you're not under the law when you're walking in the Spirit, because this spirit, you're being led by the Spirit. You're not doing these things here which the law condemns. Now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these: adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lasciviousness. All tying into what we went into also in Peter, the type of things that are going to be going on in the last time. Okay, we talking about the, just what we went into. All right, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, emulations, wrath, strife, seditions, heresies, envies, murders, drunkenness, revelings, and such like, of the which I tell you before, as I have also told you in time past, that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of God. And we can continue on. All right. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, long suffering. Love, joy. So I can read it right. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long suffering, gentleness, goodness. Remember we read in Timothy, haters of those that are good. Um, okay, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law. Okay. Um, let's just keep going. All right, and they that are Christ have crucified the flesh with the affections and lusts. If we live in the Spirit, let us also walk in the Spirit. Let us not be desirous of vain glory, provoking one another, envying one another. And so, you know, um, I just wanted to just like once again, based on several things that occurred, like conversations, things that I just kept seeing and hearing, and just once again experiences. Now I mean, like, it's really really you know um sad, the state of things. Okay, but we understand. Hopefully, we understand. John, not John, Job 9:24. So when that is the case, that can also tie into Proverbs, like when the wicked rule. Okay, the people mourn. Okay, and so once again, just hopefully could be some comfort to anyone that may have that has had to deal with certain things in life, um, even regardless of what it is, like, you know, having to deal with all the things that is said that is going to come upon those that are truly trying to serve the Most High. So it's a spiritual thing, and but just know that, yeah, I'm gonna end up with this. That he's gonna wipe away all tears, and just to keep your faith and just to understand why. Like, sometimes when you go through certain things, you have ask yourself why, like why. But the Most High, once again, all these things tie into it. All these things tie into it. Um, let's see. Yeah, yeah. 21, Revelations 21 and 1. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth. For the first heaven and the first earth will pass away, and there was no more sea. And I, John, saw the holy city, and New Jerusalem coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, Behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and God himself shall be with them, and be their God. And God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. Okay, and oh, but let me go to 5 then. So, and he that sat upon the throne said, Behold, I will make all things new. And he said unto me, Write, for these words are true and faithful. So, you know, hopefully, that was understood to be a comfort and a blessing to someone. And, I certainly was, thankful I was blessed. And so, it is the Sabbath, so, say Shabbat Shalom.